What is up guys, Greedy here with a video talking about the Rustrazor weapon line. This weapon line is relatively easy to build after you beat a Talca, and its overall good stats will let you run this with pretty much any set that doesn't need slots on the weapon. Disclaimer, not all weapons have access to this weapon line, but for the weapons that do, there's no reason not to build this line. My philosophy on picking a good weapon comes down to this. A good weapon is independent, meaning it doesn't need any skills to be playable, only using skills to boost an already usable weapon. There are a few weapons that outdamage Rustrazor, but they need life support and crutches just to keep up with good old Rusty. I'll break down every attribute of this weapon, just like how I did in my best weapons video, so you too can learn the way of the Rustrazor. Let's get into it. Rustrazor has 330 raw attack, allowing it to stay in the pool of best weapons. Any higher, the other weapons couldn't even compete. Any lower, the weapon would just be okay, and I wouldn't be recommending it in this fashion. Perfectly balanced, and you know the rest. On paper, Rustrazor's sharpness doesn't look like much. The massive 100 plus something units of sharpness guarantees you will be fighting in white sharpness for most hunts, and if somehow you drop down to blue, a quick resharpen will give you another 10 minutes of hunting. The lack of a need for maintenance skills like razor sharp and handicraft means you have skill points on your armor for raw attack and affinity buffs. Namely, you can fit in challenger instead of handicraft and bump your attack by 20 and affinity by 15 when you're fighting an enraged monster, boosting your overall damage. Because of its long sharpness, it is also the best template set weapon. You can run it with any set that doesn't need slots. This weapon is not only good stat-wise, but it is also very versatile. From a damage standpoint, white sharpness gives a 1.32 damage multiplier on the 330 raw attack, resulting in 435 damage baseline. With meals, talents, charms, and demon drug, you get a 27 raw attack buff, bumping your base damage to 471. Paired with additional damage buffs on your armor, you can rival any quote-unquote high DPS set with this weapon without any god charms. Most sharpness plus 2 sets can only hit 80 affinity, but with Rustrazor you can hit 85 when the monster isn't enraged and 100 when it is enraged via challenger plus 2. Most 330 or higher raw attack weapons don't have any positive affinity, meaning Rustrazor slightly nudges ahead of similarly tiered weapons in terms of damage. On top of that, Rustrazor is a deviant weapon, meaning art-dependent weapons will have increased damage, as I discussed in my previous video. For this weapon, you don't need absolute readiness, meaning you can take your one good art or play striker if you have multiple good arts. Appearance shouldn't come before functionality. Rustrazor does look cool in all of its forms. Having a cool design gives plenty of brownie points in favor of running the weapon in general, but it is rare to find a weapon that is both good and cool looking, all wrapped in one package. This video is a bit short, but when sifting through the roster of good weapons, for me at least, you have to be able to explain why it's good and why other people should take the time to build said weapon. I genuinely believe Rustrazor is a good weapon line, and your efforts won't be wasted if you build this weapon. This video will likely be the last of its kind, at least until Rise comes out. If you want me to do another weapon, comment it down below, leave a like, and subscribe. Anyways, hope you have a good one. Greedy Knight, signing out.